I shouldn't be alive right now. Because the thing that killed the Dyatlov hikers. It followed me down the mountain. When I first reached the Dyatlov Pass, everything looked dead, the trees, the sky, even the wind. But the moment I stepped onto the snow, I heard it. A scream. Human, but not human. That night inside my tent, I woke up to the sound of someone whispering my name. I unzipped the flap and found human footprints circling my tent. Bare feet. And minus 30 degrees Celsius. And then I saw it, standing at the tree line. Tall, pale, completely still. Watching me. Believe whatever you want. But I know exactly what killed those hikers. Because it wanted me to. I had studied the Dyatlov Pass incident for years, but I never planned to go there myself. People who visit the place rarely come back the same, if they come back at all. But when I got accepted into a Russian winter expedition program, I couldn't resist. The guides warned us multiple times. If you hear anything in the snow that sounds like a human, it isn't. Most people laughed. I didn't. On the second day, our group reached the memorial stone. Snow blew across the carved names of the 9 hikers, as if the mountain was trying to erase the memory of what happened there. A strange quiet fell over everything. Even our guide, Anton, stopped speaking. He looked around like he was expecting something to step out of the tree line. "Do not wander off the path," he whispered. "Especially after sunset." I asked him why. His answer was a simple, trembling. "Because the pass remembers." That night, as we set up camp, the wind died completely. No sound, no movement, just a thick, suffocating silence. I tried to sleep, but the moment I closed my eyes, I heard snow crunch outside my tent. Step. 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 Slow. Heavy. And then something brushed the outer fabric of my tent. I held my breath. A long, dragging whisper passed by my ear from the other side of the canvas. "Run." When I opened my eyes again, it was morning. But my footprints outside the tent weren't mine. Anton inspected the prints while the others packed their gear. He crouched low, brushing snow away from one particularly clear mark. His face went pale. "No boots," he muttered. "No socks, bare feet." One of the women in our group laughed nervously. "Maybe someone from another expedition?" Anton shook his head violently. "No human walks barefoot here. Not at night. Not in this temperature. They would freeze in minutes." He stared at me in a way that made my stomach twist. "These prints lead directly to your tent." Everyone looked at me like I had brought something with me. We followed the trail for about 50 meters before it just stopped. Like the person had taken a step and vanished into thin air. Or jumped straight up. Anton wanted to turn back, but the group insisted on finishing the trek. He eventually agreed, but his eyes kept drifting to the tree line. Around noon, clouds gathered unnaturally fast. The temperature dropped. The light dimmed. The snowstorms in the Dyatlov Pass were infamous, but this one felt wrong, like it was waiting for us. As we pressed on, I saw something between the trees. Not a person. Too tall. Too thin. Its skin the same color as the snow. It wasn't moving, but it was facing us. Facing me. I blinked and it disappeared. Whatever killed the hikers was awake. By late afternoon, the storm hit us full force. Snow whipped across our faces, turning everything into white noise and shadows. We tied ropes around our waists to avoid getting separated. The visibility dropped to almost nothing. That's when we heard it. A scream. High-pitched. Broken. Echoing through the mountains like it was bouncing off invisible walls. Anton froze in place. "That is not human," he whispered. But it sounded human. Too human. Another scream, closer this time. Then another. The group panicked and started pulling against the ropes, trying to run in different directions. "Stay together." Anton shouted. But the wind swallowed his voice. Shapes began forming in the storm, human silhouettes, stumbling, arms bent at strange angles. But the way they moved wasn't right. The same jerky, unnatural patterns described by the rescuers in 1959. One shape collapsed in the snow. Another crawled toward us, mouth open in a silent scream. I stared in horror. Their bodies were twisted, as if their bones had shifted under the skin. Just like the Dyatlov hikers. Anton yanked us back and led us down the ridge until the silhouettes vanished into the storm. When we finally made it to the base of the hill, one thing became clear. They weren't people. They were something using human shapes. And they were following us. We set up camp before dark, even though none of us wanted to stop moving. Fear drains energy fast, and we were exhausted. Anton placed our tents in a tight cluster and made us promise not to step outside at night. But around 2 a.m., I woke up to a sound I'd heard earlier. Step, step, step. Slow. Heavy. Right outside the tent. The temperature inside dropped instantly. My breath fogged the air. Something pressed against the tent wall. A long, thin shape, a hand, dragging across the fabric. Then, a whisper. You came back. I froze. I didn't dare breathe. The hand stopped. Then it pushed in, stretching the fabric inward, forming the shape of long fingers. I shut my eyes, praying for it to go away. Until the whisper changed. And said my name. I nearly screamed. In the silence that followed, I heard something else. Anton yelling outside. A gunshot. Then another. I scrambled out of my tent. The snowstorm was gone. The sky was unnaturally clear. Anton stood shaking, pointing his rifle at the tree line. What did you see? I asked. He didn't look at me when he answered. Not what? Who? 9 of them. My blood ran cold. 9. The same number as the original hikers. But Anton wasn't finished. And one more, he whispered. Taller than the rest, watching from behind them. We packed before sunrise and started moving immediately. Anton didn't say a word, he just kept checking behind us every few minutes. Eventually, the trees thinned and we reached the open stretch of the Dyatlov Pass. That's when I saw it clearly for the first time. Standing in the middle of the white expanse. Facing us. Tall, too tall. Skin pale like bone. Arms long enough to reach its knees. A face with no eyes, just hollow indentations where eyes should be. It tilted its head, steadying us. Then it moved. Not walking. Not running. It glided. In 1 second, it was 100 feet away. In the next, it was 50. Anton screamed, "Run!" But the creature wasn't chasing. It was hurting us, pushing us toward a slope. Shapes crawled from the snow around it. Human forms. Broken bones. Twisted limbs. The lost hikers. Or what was left of them. One of them grabbed my leg. Its grip was ice cold, fingers thin and brittle but impossibly strong. It whispered through a shattered jaw. Don't leave us again. Anton fired at the creature. The shot echoed across the mountain. It didn't even flinch. Instead, it opened its mouth, stretching wider and wider. A sound erupted from it. A roar mixed with a scream mixed with wind. Snow blasted upward. The ground shook. Our group scattered. I ran until my lungs burned. I don't remember falling, but I woke up alone at the bottom of a slope. My ears were ringing. The silence around me was thick, like the whole mountain was holding its breath. Anton was gone. The group was gone. My rope was cut. I knew I couldn't stay there. As I moved through the snow, I kept hearing footsteps behind me, but every time I turned, nothing was there. At least, nothing I could see. I reached the tree line near the evacuation point, but something made me stop. A figure stood between the trees. Not the tall creature. A human silhouette. Anton. Or something that looked like Anton. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle. Its legs bent the wrong way. It stepped forward. "Help me," it whispered in Anton's voice. But the mouth didn't move. I stumbled back just as a second shape appeared behind it, then a third. The 9 hikers. They formed a line, blocking the exit from the forest. And then the tall creature appeared behind them, rising like a shadow stretching out of the ground. I couldn't run. I couldn't think. The creature leaned forward. Its empty eye sockets locked onto mine. And in that moment, my mind filled with images. The 9 hikers running in terror. Their tent ripped open from the inside. Their bodies twisted in the snow. The creature watching them die one by one. It wanted me to see. To know. Because I wasn't the first to return to the pass. And I wouldn't be the last. I don't remember how I escaped. I woke up 2 days later in a rescue station, dehydrated and barely conscious. When they asked me what happened, I lied. I said I got lost. I said the storm separated me from the group. Because if I told them the truth, they would go looking. And no one should go back there. Because the Dyatlov Pass isn't just haunted. It's waiting.